And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today on this Monday. Welcome back, my people. Welcome back. It is Monday, and that means it is time to read some super thanks from throughout the week. But before we do, as always, got to give a shout out to the channel members. Shout out to Gary, aka G the Great One, Dr. Les Barrett, Thanos Snap Feminism, Keith Brazel, Charles Hookah, In the Groove 56, Great Juice, The Real Siberius, The Real Heisenberg, Mary Lewis, Adidas 20, Rike, Wizman Ballin, Vernon Lee Warren, Matt Parker, Papa Yogito, Eric C. It's Not That Serious, and the two newest members, Ant Weston, and Multi Breezy B. Thank you all so very much for supporting the channel. I truly cannot thank you enough. And without further ado, my people, let's get into these super things. First up, this is coming from my LeBron James says, only NBA fans care about ring culture. Ring culture is weird, people. The fact that you play sports and want to win a ring is weird. The fact that you play sports and want to win a championship, no matter what sport you're in, that's weird, people. You should only be playing for stats. You should only be playing for fun. Losing, you shouldn't lose any sleep over losing, people. Just, you know, if playing sports stresses you out because you're taking it too serious, then I suggest you follow LeBron James' philosophy on sports, and that is play for the fun, play for the money, play for the stats. That's the formula, people, according to the duck. Anyway, this is coming from G the Great One. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, LeClown is the same person who said the 2016 championship made him the GOAT. You can't make this stuff up. Shaking my head. This guy is the most mentally weak superstar of all time. Facts. Skip Bayless was right on the money from the beginning. I will give him that. The sole purpose of this podcast is for LeClown to try to rewrite history. If this bozo had 7 championships, he definitely wouldn't be trying to diminish them. The leader of the 3-6 kingdom, 3-6-1 kingdom, needs to go away. Shout out to @G the Great One. Yes, we all know. This Mind Games podcast, we all know that this is nothing more than an attempt for LeBron James to not only rewrite history, but to try to combat what people actually know about him, what people think about him. You know, it's to try to do some damage control. You know, and the thing about LeBron James is, you can guarantee anything that comes out of his mouth is not in the interest of truth. It is only in the interest of trying to make himself look good. You know, this whole ring culture, but that one right there made him the GOAT. You know, the whole thing about one-on-one isn't real basketball. It's not real basketball, LeBron, because you're not good at it. We all get it. And you're not fooling anybody with that statement. I have never ever met a real hooper in the history of my life. I'm 47 years old. I have never ever met a real hooper that didn't like to play one-on-one. That is the ultimate challenge. Mano y mano. It's like you're responsible for everything. If you don't play defense, that's on you. Like, you have to do everything. So, yeah, to say one-on-one isn't real basketball, LeBron James, you're not fooling anybody. You Mr. I make the right play. Shout out to George Hill. Anything LeBron that comes out of LeBron's mouth is in the interest of deflecting and trying to make himself look good. You know, But anyway, shout out to at G the Great One. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to at Swan Daily. This is coming from last week's viewers' comments about LeBron James. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says T-Mac did make the finals with the Spurs in 2013, according to AI overviews on Google. He was as an insurance policy in the finals and didn't play in the regular season. Feel free to draw your own conclusion about whether or not that this counts. That doesn't count for me. But I might have to go look that up because honestly, I don't remember Tracy McGrady ever being on the Spurs. So yeah, if that was the case, I'm gonna have to go look that up because that is not something that I remember at all. But anyway, shout out to at Swan Daily. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to at the Black Room Experience, formerly This Is Rise, and he comes through with the $2 super thanks, and this is coming from the same video. He says, I have to disagree with you on T-Mac being more athletic than Kobe. I don't know why everyone thinks Kobe wasn't a super athlete. Aside from LeBron, Jordan, Iverson, and maybe a couple of others, Kobe's athleticism is on par. Athleticism is speed and agility. Kobe was faster than T-Mac and Vince Carter. Couldn't jump like Vince. Kobe did the arm and the rim dunk before Vince. Kobe also had a lot of bodies. Young Kobe was super athletic. He won a dunk contest too. Thanks. Keep it up, bro. I actually think I agree with you. I agree with you about Kobe being more athletic than Tracy McGrady. Now, I just think Tracy McGrady's height gave him a lot of untapped potential. If Tracy McGrady actually had the work ethic of Kobe, then he could have been on Kobe's level. But now, as far as Vince Carter, to me, I don't think Kobe has the same amount of athleticism as Vince did, for me. But Kobe obviously is super athletic. Kobe obviously is in the upper echelon of athleticism in the NBA. I think why probably his athleticism gets downplayed some is because he's the closest thing to Michael Jordan. So when people think about Michael Jordan and Kobe, and you start thinking about the things that separate them, the athleticism is definitely one of them. And, but of course, Michael Jordan is arguably, top 3, top 2, maybe top 1 most athletic to ever play the game. So, but I think because Kobe gets this direct comparison to Mike, and I'm talking about even for myself, that's one of the things that stick out to me is the lack of athleticism compared to Michael Jordan. Obviously, the hand size compared to Michael Jordan, so not as quick a first step as compared to Michael Jordan, and I don't think he overall. He can't overall control the game in the same way that Michael Jordan does. But yeah, I agree with you. Kobe was definitely more athletic than T-Mac. And like I said, I do think his athleticism gets downplayed partially because he's always in direct comparison to Michael Jordan. And like I said, that's even coming from myself. But shout out to at the Black Room Experience. If you haven't been over to the channel, go check it out. And thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. And thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, this is coming from my LeBron still hopes to win his 5th ring, but opts into his $50 million contract. At least according to Rich Paul. Rich Paul says LeBron James is still hoping to contend for championships, people. This is coming. Shout out to @Lightspeed75. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, "This smacks of LeBron looking after his legacy. He takes the $53 million, leaving the Lakers with practically no trade flexibility, then pressures them to build a win-now team. If he stays and loses, he had no help. If he stays and win, he's a superhero who won with no help. Either way, he can control the narrative to suit himself. If he leaves and joins another super team and loses, he needed more time with his new team." Wow, this is so pathetic that all of these excuses are like right on point. This is so pathetic that we have a superstar that this is the case. Like we have to read into everything he does, because he actually does try to make built-in excuses for everything. But let's continue. He says, if he wins, he gets his fourth ring in parentheses, and can spend the rest of his life doing podcasts about how that makes him the GOAT and rings really do matter. And y'all misunderstood what he said before about ring culture and blah, blah, blah. No wonder he wants the money. He's going to blow half of it on brainwashing campaign that will ultimately fail. Shout out to @Lightspeed75. LeBron James fanboys, when I read comments like this, you guys should feel ashamed. It should make you guys feel really terrible about yourselves, because, again, what kind of superstar is... This shouldn't be the truth about any superstar. This shouldn't be the truth about anyone making the kind of money that LeBron James makes to play basketball. But unfortunately, where's the lie in this? Or at least you can't say this is out the realm of possibility. And matter of fact, I would say this is more probability when it comes to LeBron James. I mean, listen to this one more time. If he stays and loses, he had no... Now, we're talking about LeBron James opting into the $50 million, leaving the team with not much room to actually try to improve the team. So he says if he stays and loses, he had no help. If he stays and wins, he's a superhero who won with no help. If he leaves and joins another super team and loses, he needed more time with his new team. If he wins, he gets his fifth ring and can spend the rest of his life doing podcasts about how that makes him the GOAT and rings really do matter, and y'all misunderstood what he said before about ring. This is ridiculous. It's so true, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that this is the truth about a person that they are pushing as the GOAT. Shout out to @Lightspeed75. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so much for this comment. Next up, shout out to @InTheGroove56. This is coming from the same video, people, about LeBron hoping to get his fifth ring or fourth ring or his first ring. It depends on how he wins it. In the Groove 56, he comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, here's a question that has to be asked. Will Bronny be a part of any trade, or will LeBron abandon his son to fail within the Lakers system? Even if he joins another super team and wins a championship, just like the other ventures of his past, it will be others to propel that team to the promised land, with LeBron receiving the credit. LeBron has continued to pour salt into every team he's been a part of, leaving the fans with an awful taste, and the teams are robbed of their potential to rebuild. It's facts. Ring culture is definitely a concern when you purchase all the Cracker Jacks to obtain the rings. Inside, which, by the way, are the cheap and worthless. Facts, and more facts. Shout out to @InTheGroove56. that is something I wonder with all this trade talk going on. Is he planning on abandoning Bronny? Because let's be real here. Let's just go ahead and say this. That it wouldn't surprise me at all because Bronny has served his purpose. It failed, but Bronny getting into the NBA is what LeBron James wanted for the sake of his legacy. Now, it didn't work out the way he thought it was going to work out because I'm sure, again, just like 2016, he thought this one right here would definitely make me the GOAT. If people didn't believe it from 2016, when people see me playing with my son, they going to say, wow, that guy has to be the GOAT. So, yeah, it really wouldn't surprise me if LeBron James left the Lakers and left Bronny right there. And that's a shame. But, yeah, like I said, you know, LeBron James, if he found a way to win 10 championships, if he found a way to stay in the league 10 more years, stack the deck with every superstar on one team with himself, and which probably would still fail, to be honest, because LeBron James is on it. LeBron James actually sucks the life out of a team. I know you LeBron James fanboys hate to hear that, but this is just the facts about your king. He actually sucks the life out of a team. But yeah, if LeBron James happened to win 10 more rings, I'm sure his view on ring culture would change. But unfortunately for him, the minds of real basketball fans have been made up, and the word is getting around about LeBron James. And I am determined. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to do a live about this soon. Maybe I'll go live this week. But I am determined to get people to ask themselves this question. If you believe LeBron James has cheated the game, how should that affect his legacy? I feel like this is something people really need to think about. If you do believe he has cheated the game, if you got him ranked number 10, is that really fair? If you got him ranked number 20, is that fair? Considering he actually cheated, considering you believe that, yes, LeBron James has definitely cheated the game. If you got him ranked 50, is that fair? If you do believe he's cheated. So this is the discussion I really want to get out there. But anyway, shout out to @InTheGroove56. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, we got Swan Daily coming through again with the $5 super thanks. And this is coming from my P. Diddy found not guilty on 2 out of the 3 charges. And he says, is there any way we can get a Michael Jackson analysis video anytime soon? You mention him on your channel often, and it would be awesome to see you break down his mindset and talent like you've done with Michael Jordan countless times. Man, you know what? I would love to do that. Whether I would do that on this channel, I might do that on my other channel, Uncommon Sense Radio, because that channel is going to be more of a, more various topics that I'll put on that channel. But I would actually love to do that because I could talk a lot about Michael Jackson. But yeah, let me think about that. But either way, I'll do a video on it. It may be on my other channel, but I would love to do a video on that. Shout out to @Swan Daily. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Antihero824. This is coming from last week's viewers' comments about the duck. He comes through with the $5 super thanks. He says, yo, Uncommon, I'm really curious and I want to prick your brain more about basketball. When you used to play regularly, what were your favorite moves to do? What were your go-to moves? What did you learn and implement to your game from watching Michael Jordan and any of your favorite players? How was pickup ball played back in the day compared to when you recently played? Also, what archetype would you consider yourself as a player, and which archetypes do you consider the best, the most underrated and overrated? Who was the single hardest person you ever had to guard, if you remember? And what was your favorite personal highlight of yourself? Hitting a game winner, an ankle breaker, an alley-oop. I F with the video and hope you doing good. Hey, shout out to you. Much appreciated. So yeah, let me go through. It says, what were some of your favorite moves? So Isaiah Thomas was my favorite player before Michael Jordan. And when I first started playing basketball, I used to try to do a lot of Isaiah Thomas moves. So I would say, probably most influenced by Isaiah Thomas and Tim Hardaway. Like, I used to have my version of the UTEP two-step. And let's see, what else we got here? My favorite moments, like I don't necessarily have a favorite moment or memory. Like, my thing is, I just remember having days where, and I'm sure we all remember this, having days where it feels like you can't miss no matter what you do. And the funny thing is, now that you bring this up, is it wasn't till I got older that I realized what made having days like that possible. Like, what made days possible where it felt like you couldn't miss and where everything felt like it was just firing on all cylinders, and like you could see what was happening before it actually happened, and the defense was happening. And what made that possible, looking back on it, hindsight, is on those days I was playing purely off of instinct and wasn't overthinking the game. Like, funny enough, to me, this is what LeBron James still does to this day in the NBA, is he overthinks the game. And I think it's partly because he keeps being praised for this high IQ. But to me, when you overthink anything, it can stagnate you. When you overthink anything, it keeps you from being reactionary. And in certain circumstances, you need to be reactionary. One of those things is in sports. It's like when you're practicing, you practice. But when it's game time, you just have to trust that the things that you have practiced are going to happen naturally. So you got to go off of instinct, because if you spend time overthinking, like, it's gonna stagnate you. So yeah, it's like looking back on hindsight on some of the days where it just felt like I couldn't miss. Like now I know, looking back, that's because I was just playing off instinct and wasn't overthinking the game. And that, and that's something even now, I try, even though I'm not playing basketball anymore, I try to implement that in all facets of life. It's like, whatever it is that you do, you practice it, but when it's time to do the thing, like, you just let it happen. Let's see, what else we got here? Who's the hardest person you had to guard? I won't say his name on here, but this guy was a college football player. And like I said, I'm 5'11". This guy was probably 6'6", 6'7", way more athletic than me, could jump out the gym, but I always ended up guarding this guy because nobody else wanted to guard him. And so yeah, it was pretty much impossible. He didn't have super great handles or anything, but like I said, he was super athletic. He was fast and he could jump out the gym. And so, like I said, nobody wanted to guard him. So I always wound up attempting to guard him. But but anyway, shout out to @Antihero824. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continuous support of the channel. Next up, shout out to @TheTitanBorn. This is coming from our LeBron James exposes his lack of bag when KD joins Mind Games podcast. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, in the spirit of Independence Day, I hope the Lakers and the NBA will have independence from LaFour and 6 soon for the sake of the NBA and the game of basketball we love. Yeah, I think we all can agree with that. Even I'm still not sure how much LeBron's retirement is going to help yet, because Adam Silver is still going to be the commissioner, but Michael Jordan's coming back, so we'll see how that affects everything. But shout out to At the Titan Born. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to At the Real Siberius. This is coming from the same video. LeBron James exposes his lack of bag when KD joins Mind Games podcast. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, there is a principle I stand behind that if you cannot explain your skill or knowledge to a 5-year-old in a way that they can understand, then you don't understand it yourself. I tested myself a few years ago by teaching a 5-year-old to build a computer. What it did was demonstrate to me my lack of understanding of many of the components, their specific purposes, and how to accurately articulate them to someone that isn't familiar. It turned out to be a lesson for me, not for the child. Facing your shortcomings turns them into strengths. Avoiding them turns them into stronger weaknesses. If you think you already know everything, there is no room left for growth or development. Facts, facts, and more facts, people. I totally agree with this. Now, that's not to say that if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, you can't play or you can't do that thing. But yeah, if you can't explain it, to me, that shows me that you don't really understand what you are doing, even if you're good at it. And yeah, I feel like I've seen many examples of this in all walks of life. It's like I said, even from people who may be good at what they do, but I will say normally the people who are the best at what they do, it is because they have the understanding. So I would argue this, and I think we have examples of this. Michael Jordan clearly understands what he does. Michael Jordan can clearly teach what he does. We know this because we got to see it in Kobe Bryant. We know this because we got to see it in Carmelo Anthony. You know, we know this because just Jamal Mashburn's short encounter with Michael Jordan at the All-Star game, Michael Jordan gave him some advice right there on the spot that improved his game. So we know that Michael Jordan understands his greatness. He understands the fundamentals of the game and how to make them work and how to make the game as easy as possible. And on the flip side, fanboys. Can any of you guys tell me a player that went to your king to work with them on that game? I'll wait for a minute. I know you're going to have to think real hard about this, even though we all know the answer. Can anybody think of one player, one story that you heard of someone going to LeBron James and saying, hey, teach me some footwork. Hey, teach me some fundamentals of ball handling. Hey, teach me some shot technique. Can anybody think of one interview, one player where you saw a player saying they went to LeBron James to help with their game? That's what I thought. Shout out to At the Real Siberians. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. And everybody, he has started his own YouTube journey, so you should definitely go check him out. He has a great story to tell, an inspiring story to tell. So yeah, go check him out. But thanks again for the $2 super thanks, and thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Alberto Martinez. This is coming from my LeBron has nothing to say, while KD and Steve Nash actually talk about basketball skills and technique. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says that bit where LeBron added nothing to the convo when Durant and Nash were talking really highlights LeBron's opportunistic mindset. He really picks his moments when he wants to lie and give the impression like he knows something and when not to. He knew in that moment that if he were to act like he knew what he was talking about regarding skill set, he could not pull a fast one on Durant and Nash because they actually know what they were talking about. So he decided to stay quiet. He seems to read the room first to see if he's able to get away with any type of manipulation. And it always seems calculated and intentional. What a snake. Yeah, like I said, it's definitely calculated, and he's definitely become good at sidestepping the conversation. He's definitely become really good at sidestepping the conversation when he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like I said, Steve Nash and Kevin Durant are discussing techniques about pulling a jump shot off from either the right or left side, and LeBron James comes through talking about efficiency. But he did it in such a way that in the flow of the conversation, unless you're somebody who understands the type of things that LeBron James does on a regular basis, and especially if you're a LeBron James fanboy who's just in love with LeBron James and LeBron James can do no wrong, you wouldn't think anything of that. You'd be like, oh man, yeah, LeBron James, efficiency. He had such a great point. He's so smart. Man, he really added to that conversation about technique about jump shots. Yeah, he's added efficiency. Fanboys, you are ridiculous, and so is your king. Shout out to Alberto Martinez. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Les Barrett, K3Y8K. And this is coming from my P. Diddy found not guilty on 2 out of 3 charges. And he comes through with the $2 super thanks, and he simply says thanks. And thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for continuing to support the channel. Next up, shout out to @G the Great One. This is coming from the 2 sides of the LeBron James story video. He says the whole LeBron clutch media situation is unprecedented. 90% of the media has made it their mission to cap for LeBron. ESPN literally laid off some analysts who were critical of LeBron and kept all of LeBron's biggest cappers employed. It's simple. Cap for LeBron and you will always have a job. Fox basically did the same thing too. LeBron is an entitled narcissist who is allergic to the slightest bit of criticism. He really thinks that he is a king and everyone must bow down to him. I feel bad for Savannah and those children. LeClown has zero self-awareness. We have never seen anything like these. LeBron fans well, not for a male entertainer. These guys will literally go to the end of the earth to defend their king. They lose all sense of logic. I don't think they lost it. I think it's probably never there. And reasoning when it comes to LeBron. In the words of Skip Bayless, I've never seen anything like it. Nick, Shannon, and the rest of the Clutch crew have done a number on the brains of these people. Facts. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. This really just, I mean, it just goes to show you the power of media. It goes to show you the power of media. And it goes to show you that, hey, if you don't take the time to actually do some research, like, you could be lured in by anything, and no one is immune to it. But fortunately, there are people who like to do research. They are not named LeBron James fanboys. Fortunately, there are people who like to do research and like to check it out. But even more importantly, when it comes to the sports thing, I think the thing that really just gets lost with mainstream media and the younger generation is there is generations who are alive who actually watched decades of basketball. And this is where the problem is. It's like the media, as far as LeBron James is concerned, they can do a number on the minds of young people for the most part. Don't get me wrong. There's some old delusional people out there as well. But I think it's more focused on the younger generation. But like I said, when it comes to basketball fans and sports fans in general, the problem that they are having that I don't think they account for is the fact that there are fans alive that have watched decades of basketball. And so when you are trying to fool someone who's actually seen what it's supposed to look like, you're just not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to get away with it. And it doesn't matter how much you cap for LeBron. It doesn't matter how much narrative you push. Like when someone who has seen it with their own eyes compares LeBron James to Michael Jordan, it is going to be an instant no. When someone who has seen it with their own eyes compares LeBron James to Kobe Bryant, it is going to be an instant no. When someone who has seen it with their own eyes compares LeBron James to Magic Johnson, it is going to be an instant no. Or compares him to Larry Bird, an instant no. Or compares him to a number of people, it's going to be an instant no, because LeBron James is just not a competitor. He's just not a competitor. LeBron James is not a competitor. He is simply a manipulator. He is simply a manipulator. And within the game, he's trying to manipulate. This is what he does on the basketball court. He's trying to manipulate the refs. He tries to manipulate what teams he goes on and what players and coaches. He's a manipulator, not a competitor. Because competitors take the challenge as it's presented to them. A competitor takes the challenge as it's presented. If a competitor sees himself that he's on a weaker team, then he says, hey, well, I got more to do. If he finds himself on a stronger team, then he feels compelled, like, hey, I'm on a strong team. I have to make sure that we don't lose. I have to make sure we don't lose. If I know we got the advantage, it is a tragedy if we lose. But no, not with LeBron James. He just forms super teams and loses, and then, well, you guys still got to go back to your miserable lives, and I'm still going to be a billionaire tomorrow. He loses, and yeah, I don't lose any sleep over losing. You know, I slept like a baby. I drank a bottle of wine and danced with Savannah, and we just had a good old time. I didn't even think about the fact that I just lost 4 hours ago. But anyway, shout out to @G the Great One. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to Bilderberg Boy. Bilderberg Boy. This is coming from the same video. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, brother, did you know Gilbert Arenas' son Elijah signed with Clutch Sports in May of this year? This explains Gil's takes on Jordan, Kobe, and LaFoney. I feel like I did hear that. Wait, or maybe I didn't know. I don't think I knew that. I feel like I knew Gilbert was working with Bronny at one point, but no, I didn't realize that Gilbert's son is signed with Clutch Sports. Interesting. But that's not surprising, because Gilbert Arenas has been capping for LeBron for years now. So this is not surprising. But anyway, shout out to Ed Bilderberg. Board, thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. And last but not least, shout out to KK1981. This is coming from the same video, and he comes through with the $10 super thanks with 3 100 emojis, and he simply says, thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. I truly cannot thank you all enough. Thanks to everyone who continues to support the channel, who continues to like and subscribe, and continues to leave insightful comments that we can all learn from. And like I always say at the end of these videos, please continue to support the content creators who bring you real opinions that are not filtered by lining their pockets with unclutched sports money. So shout out to Angry Old Hoops, Sports and Fitness Rants, Uncut Hoops, Scap Attack, Phenomenal Fitness, Self-Research, Basketball Facts. Shout out to Man Down Sports, Sports Tea, The Format Podcast. Shout out to Too Raw for Sports, Ticket TV, Dreamers Pro, and The Basketball Show. Shout out to Brandon Love Sports, and anybody else I forgot, please drop them in the comments. Let me know what you think about any of the comments that were left here today. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.